Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 623. I'm Brian Cohen from Best Page Forward. I'm here solo today. I want to remind you that in the 11 years of the show, we've changed a lot of things. We've done a lot of things. A few years ago, we started doing coaching, and we started doing our done for you Amazon ads, and we even started adding done for you Facebook ads. If you are interested in finding out more about how to work directly with me and have me coach you, which we work with a lot of authors who earn over $2,500 a month in an effort to scale them up, or if you are interested in having us run your Amazon or Facebook ads, we do this for a lot of 6 and 7 figure authors. Don't hesitate to reach out. Either email us at brian@sellingforauthors.com or over at Sell More Book Show, we have a little application link. Go check that out. We would love, love, love to work with you. We're going into March here. We have had some interesting things this year, right? There were instances where we were worried about KU reads, and then the other day it looked like KU reads were now up for the month of March. And I think that things are always going to be shifting. Things are always going to be changing. But you get to choose how you react to these things. If you make a lot of decisions, snap decisions based on what has happened in the moment, you don't give them a chance to percolate. You don't give it a chance for you to see the results of those actions and what they actually mean. You will run into trouble because sometimes the thing we need most is patience. Patience, my friends. So, coming up in about a week and a half, we have a live coaching session. Some of our amazing groundbreakers, author mastermind coaches will be joining us to have a live coaching session where you will be a fly on the wall for some amazing coaching sessions of authors just like you. Go check out the show notes at sellmorebookshow.com or go to learn.bestpageforward.net/author-career for our author career leap live coaching session. A couple weeks ago, we had a question. If you're a shy author, how do you get out of your shell to promote your stuff? Kathy Downs said, pretend you're someone else, like your agent, your publisher, or one of your characters. That's pretty fun. Joe Lucan said, don't make it about yourself. Think about how your book fulfills a need of the reader. If you write fiction, your book gives them an opportunity to immerse themselves in a genre they love. It's not about talking about yourself, but talking about your characters, new friends that your reader hasn't met yet. For me in nonfiction, it's about me, although I do need to share my authority to write on the topic. But the area the reader is looking, it's not about me, but the area the reader is looking for help with. Yeah, it's never about you, so you don't have to worry about putting yourself out there. I love that, Joe. And then Marianne said, practice an elevator speech or synopsis. It never hurts. Guys, you can go over to sellmorebookshow.com or the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group and answer these questions. We are there and ready to potentially read some of these on the air. Let's go into the top story of the week. Launch it 3 times. If you launched your book to a lackluster response, don't just give up and move on. Instead, launch it again, or even 3 times, says author and entrepreneur Anil Dash. Quote, it often takes more than one time before your idea actually resonates or sticks with the people you're trying to reach. Sometimes it takes more than twice, end quote. Dash doesn't mean to simply do what didn't work last time, although even that can be effective if your issue was poor timing. Quote, that's increasingly an issue as people are distracted by events going on in the world, and so sometimes they just need you to put things in front of them again, end quote. Sometimes it pays to simplify. Quote, one thing I often suggest is to subtract things or just de-emphasize them and use that reduction in complexity to simplify your launch, end quote. If timing and complexity weren't your issues, it might take something as simple as making a few tweaks to what you put out. Even a complete rebranding could be in order if you're sure you have a great product to work with. Dash says many people can be embarrassed to make branding or visible design changes, so they focus on what they think are safe areas, like minor changes to pricing or the copy on a landing page, things that few people will ever actually land on. Quote, the vast majority of the time, the single biggest problem you have is that nobody knows you exist, says Dash. Everything else pales in comparison to that, end quote. The bottom line is that even small iterations to your launch can give you another chance at putting your hard work out into the world. I think Anil is absolutely right here. We are so hyper focused on the first week that our book comes out. But have even been thinking about bringing back a strategy I discussed where maybe your launch isn't a week, maybe it's a month or 3 months or an entire year or 3 years. The amount of time that counts as your launch is totally up to you. And if that's the case, then you never have to just like be disappointed if it didn't sell as many copies in a few weeks or a month as you were hoping for. You don't have to really focus on that. You focus on being not a super one-time bestseller in an obscure category, but you work on being a perennial bestseller. And that's one of the reasons we've focused so much on ads over the years, because you can continue to get attention for a book long after the first week that you put that book out. So, hot potatoes of wisdom questions. What are the biggest factors in a successful book launch? I think Anil is absolutely right, because 80% of your sales come from people who know you already. And if people don't know you, if you don't have that mailing list, if you don't have social media followers, if you don't have people that you know you can count on who are your people who buy everything you put out there, those so-called 1,000 true fans, then it is going to be you having to depend on strangers. And running ads to strangers is less likely to convert than telling your existing fans about it. So have a bigger audience even during your launch. You can be building your email list for your next launch. Second question, how can you tell whether it's your branding or your book that is the problem? And so this is why I think ads are so important, because you can get conversion data. You can see how many clicks does it take to get to the center of this Tootsie Pop? How many clicks does it take for someone to buy? Because if people are buying, but then not reviewing it, or they're giving it low reviews, that's probably the book. If people are getting to the page and not buying it, that could be the branding. It's not always the branding, but it could be the fact that your book does not look like what readers expected when they were thinking about a book in their genre. And what I always say is, every time you put out a book, every time you market a book, try to make it 20 to 30% closer to what readers expect. We're in for the lightning round. Chicka chow. How have you seen authors build deeper connections with their readers lately? So, aside from going to events, which can be kind of a wash profitability wise, I see authors be themselves on social media. They put out content about themselves. They share about themselves in their emails. They're not trying to be distant from their reading community. They're trying to be more connected to their reading community. And that doesn't necessarily mean more content. It means content where you are actually connecting with those readers. How do you stay focused on writing with so much going on in the news? Y'all, there has always been stuff in the news that could take anybody's energy, and there always will be stuff in the news that could take everybody's energy. You have to decide, when are you taking in that news? Are you taking in that news an hour before you're about to start writing? Are you taking in that news after your writing time? Hopefully you're not taking in your news during your writing time. I think you need to focus on making sure that your writing time is sacred and that it is not energetically interrupted by the news or negativity. How do you stay connected to other authors without traveling? Guys, sometimes you just slide into a DM. Sometimes you comment on somebody's post. Sometimes you ask, hey, do you want to have a virtual coffee date over Zoom? You can leave out the date part if you think that's going to be weird. But I just mean there are ways we can reach out to people and not make it a several $1,000 expense. You absolutely have the ability to reach out to people, fellow people in your genre, and make those connections. And I know it's scary for you introverts out there, but I just had a great experience or a great recommendation where I recommended that one of my authors in my Pathfinders coaching group go reach out to other authors in your subgenre. It's a very small niche. You guys should all know each other. And he did. And now they're doing a cross promo group. And now his book sales are up. So sometimes it's okay to just reach out. When is it a good idea to try to jump on a trend like hockey romance? Do you love the books in the trend? Are you reading them and saying, I really want to read more of this? Are you seeing the shows these trends are based on and saying, I love this? Follow the love. Follow what you love and what you're excited by. That is going to be the biggest reason to write to a trend. And lastly, how has your view on mindset and success changed since you started in publishing? I used to think mindset was 20% of what led to success. And now I have been able to see $1 million a year authors. I have been able to see $10 million a year authors. I have been able to see authors earning at every level. And I now believe that mindset is 80%. Because the authors I've seen shoot themselves in the foot when they had a chance to succeed, it was all because of mindset. It was all because of limiting beliefs. It was all because of familial things and things that they just were never able to get over. This is all about the mindset. And so 80% of your success is likely to come from overcoming the internal boundaries that you have set up for yourself. And they can be overcome because the mind is a beautiful thing and it can always change. It's called neuroplasticity. Look it up. We need a question of the week here, which is, what is something you want to hear me talk about on the show? I don't talk about this that often, but we have lots of topics we cover, and I don't always get to ask, what do you want to hear from me? So what do you want to hear me cover on the show? Because, I would love to get your feedback. So you can answer that question of the week over at sellmorebookshow.com or in the comments section over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Guys, we are managing millions of dollars a year in Amazon ad and Facebook ad spend with our author ad agency. I have had the good fortune of being able to coach 5, 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs through my Pathfinders Mastermind group. If you are in a situation where you are earning pretty well, but you feel like you're hitting a block, I want to help you clear that block. If you have been managing your own Amazon ads, managing your own Facebook ads, you're earning pretty well, but you've hit a block and you're tired, come to us. Just go email me at brian@sellingforauthors.com. You can have Pathfinders or agency in the subject line, or go to sellmorebookshow.com and you can share your info with our little application form thingy. We also have our live coaching session. You can be a fly on the wall in one of our coaching sessions, and it is going to be a blast. And you are bound to pick up something that will help you to sell more books. So thank you for watching today or listening. Appreciate you so much following us for, we've been going for 11 years on this one. And if you have any questions, concerns, just drop us a line. But thanks for watching. Have a great week of book selling, everybody, and we'll be back next week for episode 624. Bye.